Okay, so hello, thank you for being here today. Firstly, would you mind just presenting yourself and explaining your role at St Albans Youth Football Club?
Yeah, my name's Ian Morgan, 42 years old, and I'm a coach for St Albans City Youth West. Just run it on my own pretty much with an assistant, and I've been doing it for around 6 or 7 years now.
Okay, nice.
So,
To become a youth manager at St Albans Youth Football Club, like obviously it's not like a proper academy, it's a grassroots football club. But did you have to follow a precise, like a process? Did you have to go through a process, or was it quite straightforward?
pretty straightforward. The lads used to train on a Saturday morning when they were underage, because they don't put them into teams until they get to under eights. So they have a load of kids training, and then they just invite parents to take on a team. They ask for volunteers to take on a team, and then they put you through for your FA Level 1 qualification, which is the minimum you need to run a team.
Okay. So what is it that you like the most, as a youth manager? What is it that you really like?
Just getting out with the kids on the training grounds, having a knockabout, teaching them a few things here and there, and then the excitement on match day as well. You know, with the highs and lows of all the games, and seeing them put together what they've learned in training and maybe putting it into a match situation can be quite rewarding. And sometimes the other way around as well can be disappointing in other ways. You know? But yeah, that's it basically.
Okay. Which age group do you train?
Under 14s.
Yeah, okay. Like Julian Hales, because I had an interview with him.
That's it, yeah.
Okay, nice. I'm gonna ask questions more on the how players manage to blend in and live correctly within the team. So firstly, how do you make sure that all players within your team treat each other well, and also opponents when it's a game or something like that?
I think you obviously conduct yourself in the right way first. So however I would treat people, I was imagine it's they look at me as a role model, hopefully, and then see like how I do it. And then if they don't do it that way, or see a problem, I'll pull them to one side and have a word and explain why you have to act in a certain way and why you've got to be more sportsmanlike. That's it, really.
Okay. So, I had a chat with one of the youth players about 2 days ago, who came from Brazil. Maybe you know him, Vicente Luciani. He's the goalkeeper.
I know Vicente, yeah.
Yeah. And he explained to me how he was really well welcomed when he arrived at St Albans, knowing that he didn't speak the language. So, when a player arrives in the team, so a new player, what attitude do you expect coming from the long-term players that have been there for several years?
Actually, just to be open-minded and welcome the player. Player might be different, might have different characteristics to them, different ideas on football. Obviously, different personality. They might be a bit quieter than the rest of the lads. Might be more serious about how they treat their football. Just to be a bit open-minded and a bit welcoming. That's it.
Yeah. Obviously, you're training teenagers, early teenagers, and the teenage period can be quite oppressing for some of the teenagers. How do you make sure that they all feel included in the team?
Just mix up the groups in training a little bit, so they're not training in the same. If I let the lads choose all the time, they might go to the same 4 or 5 players. If I said getting groups of 5, there's sometimes you can get little cliques, or I'll try and avoid that by mixing it up a little bit. some players work better with other players. I think if they get too familiar, they drop their standards a little bit sometimes. What was the question again? Could you just...
The question, was how do you make sure, like, if a player feels excluded from the team, how do you make sure that he really feels included, actually?
Yeah, I would just get someone to put an arm around their shoulder and, just mix them up a little bit, and then I'll have a word with them, make sure they're all okay. That's it, really. Sometimes I've got a group chat. We can all have a chat on and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I've never had really any issues, really, of someone feeling like they're sort of left out. But if I did have an issue with it or picked up on it a bit earlier, I'll try and quash it before it happened.
Okay. Quite a simple question here. Simple. What do you intend to transmit to your players? Like, what do you want to transmit to them?
I think transmit to players, like, football is, obviously football's football, but it transmit a lot of the principles of transfer over to normal life, working life. A lot of the chances, a lot of these players aren't going to be professional players. Hopefully they might, but I don't think they probably will do. They'll go as high as they can, but I think if you encourage them to have a good work ethic, treat people in the right manner, be competitive in what you do, and just generally be a nice, all-rounded person, I think it will set you up for life in another way other than football as well. Just morals.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So now I'm going to speak about respect. So obviously respect is, football, it's everywhere now. It's on the UEFA ads. You can see it everywhere. How do you sanction disrespectful behavior within the team? Like during a game sometimes, especially with young players. I know if it's the case for you, but for me, for example, when I used to play, sometimes it could get a bit heated and some words can come out. And how do you sanction these behaviors?
I feel like players getting too emotional and could end up getting sent off, or he's going to lose his head and maybe even go and push someone or talk too much to them. I'll take them off the pitch, sub them, get them out of the way, let them sit down over with all the water bottles on the first aid kit for a bit to cool down, and then go over after a minute or two. Once they cool down, just explain, look, it's good to be competitive, but you've got to have a respect there at the same time. That's it really. It's just trying to sort of sense, your players, when one of them's get too emotional or not, and possibly now while they're teenagers, it's going to be a little bit more evidence of it's just exactly. Life, testosterone, stuff like that. That's it. So
exactly. Really. And I'm going to go through St Albans and the different teams they have. So they have a white girls section, a disabled section. I believe they just created a new section for deaf people, if I am right. I think I read that on the website.
Yeah, they got a deaf team.
Yeah, that's really good actually. How do you judge the importance of including these different sections, minorities, within the club?
I think it's good because St Albans have always promoted football for everyone in the community. So, the more people you get in, the bigger the team spirit around everywhere. And why shouldn't people with disabilities or come from different backgrounds or whatever not have the chance to play football? And, we don't always stream either. So, there's always, for whatever ability they are, there's always a team for someone to play. Football's for everyone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just disabilities, whatever.
So sorry.
That's it really. That's all I would say. It's just for everyone, and if you can get it organised to do so, then why not? Then it gives kids enjoyment to do it. They should do it.
Okay. So I went through the club's development plans and everything that's basically on it. And it really appears that the club gives a lot of significance to racism. I mean, to counter racism. How important is demonstrating racial equality to the young children themselves?
It's really important because, like I said earlier, it's not just on the football pitch. It goes in all walks of life. Whether you're at school, on the football pitch, out in the street after school, you're not going to get very far in life judging people by the colour of their skin, or not worrying about how they feel if you did be mean or judgmental about the colour of their skin. It's about including everyone and being just like a well-rounded person. You don't single people out for certain things.
Yeah, exactly. So you would say that the fact that maybe at a young age, let's say 8 years old, the fact that players are playing with different or people from different ethnicities, backgrounds, really helps for the future, I guess.
Yeah, obviously you've got someone who might be Muslim or whatever. They might have to explain to them they're on Ramadan and they're not eating all day and stuff like that. It's a little bit of understanding is why, they might be a bit short-tempered if they haven't eaten all day and they're trying to train and they haven't had a glass of water for hours and hours. Yeah, it's just a little bit of understanding and understanding other cultures and backgrounds, which is it can only be a positive for that person.
Exactly.
To understand all this.
Yeah. So, have you actually ever witnessed racism or whatever form of disrespect during a football game?
No, I don't think so. Maybe I wouldn't say racism, but there's probably a little bit of disrespect somewhere where one child sworn at another child or whatever, or some of the parents on the sideline can be a little bit lively, a little bit animated on the sidelines when they don't necessarily need to. But yeah, I wouldn't say I've witnessed any racism, no.
Okay. Yeah, because racism in football, professional football and grassroots football has been condemned by many professional players, such as Paul Pogba. What do you think, personally, can be done to stop racism in amateur football? Do you think it's an education matter rather than just the club where you play?
I think it's comes before they even go to football. If it's an education thing, if kids are taught from a young age that it's not, you don't notice the colour of someone's skin, and you just look through it. It doesn't matter who you are, and I think it's maybe stopping people in the crowds. Sometimes they get like a group mentality and they think it's funny to sort of say like horrible things about colour of someone's skin, and everyone laughs because they haven't got to feel ultimately responsible for it. So maybe you have to control things in the crowd at some point, but I think ultimately it's the education before that. And maybe you don't encourage it when you hear, obviously you don't encourage it when you hear it in the football stadiums or on the side of the pitch. You have to nip it in the bud and stop it there and then. However you need to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're going through the last questions here. How do you view the importance of incorporating children from all different social backgrounds in the club to give the same opportunity to every player, whatever their parents is the job of their parents or the amount of money they're earning?
It's very important. It shouldn't matter. Football's football, whether you're rich, poor, got a disability. You go in there, everyone has a chance to express themselves on the football pitch and play the game. And I think that's what it's all about. I think when you go on the football pitch, whether you're rich, poor, whatever, should be left behind. Once you cross that white line, that's it. You're all the same. You're all in the same colours, the same kit. You're playing for the same team, and you play for each other. It's a camaraderie thing. You might not always like your teammate, but you play for each other and you help them where you can on the pitch. Yeah, that's what I would say. Very important, you know. And I think sometimes in some societies you don't have things like football matches where a rich kid could play with a poor kid. Sometimes some countries are divided where you got the poor kids will stay over there in the ghettos with the poor kids, and then the rich kids are over there in their nice, safe, secure environment, and they don't cross paths. And that's where you get, you know, divisions of people, which is not good.
Yeah, that's obviously what you want to avoid. So yeah, last question. The FA really emphasizes on the importance of tackling mental health issues. In what ways do you think football and different football leagues can help youngsters to recover from mental health issues? Do you think football helps, actually?
I think, to be honest, I think any sort of fitness can help mental health, but also I think sometimes if, for instance, you've had a bad day or a bad week or a bad episode with a mental illness or whatever, I think you come onto that football field or the training ground, and sometimes you can forget about that. Sometimes just being with your teammates on the pitch can lift you out of a black hole or depression, along with the exercise and maybe the playing of a game. You know, it can only be more positive once you're around everyone and you're doing something positive. So hopefully you'll come off the pitch feeling a bit positive, especially if you've scored a hat trick or
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
a couple of goals or played well. You've got man in a match where your teammates are coming up to you, giving you a pat on the back and saying, well played. You know, for that hour and a half of football, all them problems are forgotten. Maybe gone away for another week or so. You know, that's what I think.
Yeah, exactly. When the game is on, you forget about all your problems. And would you say, yeah, sorry, said it was the last question, but
That's
that
all right. No worries, don't worry.
football, and especially at that age, actually, really helps the youngsters to make friends and feel better. How could I say that? And feel better in general, actually, to make contacts.
Yeah, definitely. I think like as well when you over here when you start playing football, you're obviously in junior schools, and then when you go up to senior school, it's quite a daunting thing. But with me, I went up from junior school and I was going to senior school, but it was easier because I had about 5 or 6 teammates that were going to be in my new school, and it was just easier because it's another circle of friends.
Okay,
So,
okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm just going to stop the recording.